This is going to be the tutorial that's going to show you how to make one of these Red Riding Hood capes and hoods. I had a lady asking me to make one for about a 5-year-old because she needs one next month, and all she could find was ones that had double crochet. Very simple. So I went ahead and I designed one making my blackberry lace stitch. So for this project, and this is the yarn that I used here. It says it's 100 grams, 282 meters, which is 308 yards. And I used 3 of these. And at the very end of the third, I had just a little bit left, so I got lucky. So maybe even get 4. But this is a big, 308 yards. It's kind of big than normal than I see out here. So just keep in mind, I would get at least 700 yards just to be on the safe side. Just make sure you have at least 700 yards. And this is worst weight ply, which is 4 ply for the US and 10 ply for Australia. You'll need at least 4 of these and a 5mm hook or a size H hook for the US. So get those items and let's get started. Okay, to begin, you need to make a chain of 92. If you want to change the multiples of the stitch to make it bigger or smaller, then you can. Just reduce it by 3. So stay in multiples of 3, because on the ends here, like on the hood, I have some extra stitches here. So I want to make sure that we have those extra stitches also on the inside. Here, there'll be stitches that'll be extra on the end. It helps it stay closed so it doesn't bump up against the blackberries. Okay, so for the purposes of this tutorial, I have 32. You want to chain 92. Well, 90 is a multiple of 3, but you want to have the extra 2 stitches because when you begin, you're going to lose 2 stitches, because you want to double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. And then double crochet in the next 2 stitches as well. So the first 3 stitches are going to be 3 double crochets. Then to make the blackberry, you want to chain 3, and then in the first chain closest to your double crochet here, first chain, you want to not yarn over, just insert your hook in that first chain, pull up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, insert through that same stitch. You'll be going through that stitch a total of 3 times, 4 loops on the hook, and then for the 3rd time, insert, grab up a loop, 6 loops on the hook. When you have your 6 loops, you want to yarn over, pull through all 6 loops. Then you want to chain 1 to secure it, and then very important, you want to slip stitch back into this same chain. And that is how you make the blackberry. And then again, you want to have 3 double crochets in a row, and do not skip a stitch. So go right into the next stitch and do a double crochet, and then a double crochet in the next 2 stitches as well for 3 double crochets in a row. And then ready to make your blackberry again. So you want to chain 3, and this one I'll do in slow motion. Remember, don't yarn over before you go into your chain, just go into this first chain. And then you'll want to do your 3 double crochets again. 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Then once you have your 3 double crochets, you just repeat your blackberry again. And you'll want to continue this all the way down the line. Okay, I'm come to my end here. I just made my blackberry, and then I did my double crochet. And then the last 2 chains, you want to put a double crochet. So your last 3 stitches should be double crochet, double crochet, double crochet. Then you want to chain 2 and turn. Then you want to double crochet in the first stitch and the second stitch. So in the first 2 stitches you should have a double crochet. Then you want to single crochet into this top of the blackberry. If you can see how it all kind of draws up into a point here. Well, if you put your hook in the center of this, you'll grab up these 2 stitches, or the stitch. See how there's 2 stitches here? Make sure you get them both for a tight connection. And I'll show you again. See how it's, you pulled through all the stitches and then you chained 1 and it secured it, and that's what you're grabbing a hold of. And you're going to do a single crochet. And then the next stitch here, you'll do a double crochet. And this is the way it's going to be from now on. You'll single crochet in the top of your I would call it BB on the pattern, but it's called blackberry. And after you do your blackberry, your single crochet on the top of your blackberry, you will do a double crochet. Then after your first double crochet here, you'll chain 3 and do your blackberry as normal. And very important to slip stitch back into that same stitch before you continue. And then very next stitch, you'll do a double crochet. So it'll always be single crochet in the top of the blackberry from the previous round, double crochet in the next, chain 3, make your blackberry, and then double crochet in the very next stitch. Don't skip any. These 2 stitches in between, these 2 here, will always be the 2 that you're going to be working in. It should always be double crochet, blackberry, double crochet, and you'll be single crocheting in the tops of your blackberries from the previous round. So I just did my double crochet, blackberry, double crochet. Now I'm ready to single crochet into the top of this one, just to get me over to the next section, where I will do a double crochet, chain 3, make my blackberry, 1, 2, 3, and then double crochet in the very next stitch. And again, we're back up to another blackberry, so single crochet into that blackberry. And then again, you'll be doing your double crochet, chain 3, then doing your blackberry. And then double crochet to basically secure it. And that's it. You'll just keep repeating this all the way to the end, and then I'll show you what you do on the end. Okay, I got to the end of my row, and again, you should have 3 double crochets here on the end. So I come to the end of my row, and I have 3 double crochets on the end. So you want to chain 2 and turn. Now you may notice that it's curving, which is exactly what you want, because later we're going to be working in the bottoms of these stitches to make our hood. So this is going to be the part that's going to be around the neck. So I'm doing a swatch. This isn't the same size as yours, so it may differ from the beginning. So there's some basic rules you need to follow. When you chain 2, you still always need a double crochet into this first stitch. And if you have a blackberry here facing you, like this one is facing you closer, then you just double crochet up until you get to that blackberry. But since mine is far away, then, and I have a blackberry here underneath from the next round, which means I probably need to do a blackberry here. And to do a blackberry, you need to have 1 double crochet, a stitch to do a double crochet after you make it. So you double crochet all the way up until the stitch before the blackberry, and then you'll just chain 3 and do your blackberry. And then double crochet into this last stitch before the blackberry of this round. So now you will have, whoops, if you turn it this way, you have a blackberry and then a blackberry. And then now this next row, I have 2 double crochets before you have your blackberry here. See? Say this would be the next row. You have double crochet in the first stitch, then double crochet in the second, and then you would just single crochet into this blackberry. So when it's this close to the end, just single crochet into the blackberry and then just continue as normal. But if it's far away, like mine was, more than 3 double crochets, then you can do a blackberry. It's up to you though if you want to have a border here on the end, but I think it looks so much better and neater. But those are the basic rules that you follow when you're beginning either side. But if you have the pattern with the 92 stitches, the chains at the beginning, and then you go down to 90. If you have the 90 stitches, then you can follow the pattern exactly. But if you're going to make it another size, those are definitely the rules you need to follow. So you'll be repeating these 2 rows over and over and over again. And I did it for a total of 30 rounds. So this is my 3rd round, and I just continued on until I had a total of 30. Let me get my... I did it for 30 rounds, and then I measured it, and it was 42 centimeters. So you can continue until you get 30 rounds, or until you get the 42 centimeters, which is 16.5 inches. But it just depends on who you're making it for. If you're making it for 5 to 6 year olds, I would stick to about that length. But if you're making it for a much bigger kid, then you definitely obviously want to make it longer, because you want it to cover their butt at least. So after you've gotten all those rows done, back and forth, and you're ready to cut your yarn and start making the hood, then I will show you how to do that. Okay. Once you've gotten done with the last row and your cape is the size that you want, this is the beginning row that we did of the chain. We want to pivot our project to where now we're going to be working on the other side of this chain. And what I do is a single crochet attachment. So what I do to do a single crochet attachment is I just insert my hook in the first stitch, and then you just pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops. Then you go into the next stitch, single crochet, and you start it off with 90 chains, 90 stitches. So there should be 90 stitches going back this way too. So just make sure that you count at the end of this row. It's very, very important. If you don't have your original amount of chains that you started with, then you skipped a stitch somewhere. Okay, so again, make sure you count your stitches. Make sure that you have your 90 single crochets, or whatever you started with if you're making another size. So when you get to the end of my bag of stuff here, again, you'll want to cut your yarn. And then you want to flip your project over where you have your, if you notice, especially when you start your next row, you'll be able to notice the backs of the single crochets that are facing you naturally want to fold this way. So this is where you want your hood to fold back. So just keep that in mind when you are going to put the hood together. Make sure that that is what's going to be falling back, and I'll remind you later too. So what you want to do if you have 90 stitches is you want to count over from this end, this very first stitch, and you'll be marking over, I believe it's 20, yes, 20. So you want to count over 20 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you keep counting. Since this is a little swatch here, I'm going to just count over 10 and place a marker. And then from the other side, again, count over 20 stitches. 4, 6, 8. And then inside the 20th stitch, put a marker. So counting the marker space to the end should have a total of 20. And in between the markers should have 50 stitches. And then count all those, make sure it's all good. And once you have your 50 stitches in between, and from your marker to the end you have 20 stitches, then you're ready to attach your yarn. And if you are right-handed, then obviously you'll want to attach your yarn on the right marker here. And if you're left-handed, then you'll, actually in the video it'll be switched. So right-handed, go into the right marker. Left-handed, start from the left marker. So you want to go in and attach by double crochet method, which is just yarn over. Let me get just a little bit closer here so you can see. You want to yarn over so you have your original loop here, your slip knot, then yarn over and hold it with your finger, this loop that you just yarned over. Go into the stitch, actually the stitch to the left here of the marker, and then you'll yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. So correction, you'll be going to the side of the marker, not in the marker space itself. So you'll want to do like you did before with your 3 double crochets in a row, and then do your chain 3 and make your blackberry stitch. 1, 2, 3. Then you continue as normal. Don't skip a stitch, just continue doing your 3 double crochets. And then chain 3 and do your blackberry stitch. So you're doing the same thing that you did here, but on the opposite side. You're kind of like mirroring it. And you continue to do this until you get to your last, the stitch before the marker. You'll have 50 stitches, so you just do it in all 50 stitches. And you want to make sure that you have at least some stitches on the end. If you do the same size I did originally, then you should have, let me just be 100% sure here. You should have 4 stitches on the end. So you'll have 3 you'll do your double crochets like normal, and then on the next you'll end this round of the first round with the hood. You should have 4 double crochets on this side. So just continue on, and when you get to a certain point and you know you have 4 left, just double crochet the last 4. It's hard to show on this swatch because it's a little different, but I write my patterns pretty easy to follow. So in this case where I would make another BB, I only have 2 stitches left on the end, so this is where I would it's hopefully where you're going to be when you get to the end, but you'll have 4 stitches on the end. And me, I have a little more of 5. So anyway, you should have 4, and then when you chain, you chain 2 on the end, then you'll turn it back out just a little bit. Then you'll turn it, and then again you should have 4 stitches, and you'll start back this direction again. You'll double crochet in the first 4 stitches, 3 and 4. Come on, yarn. And then you'll continue as normal, a single crocheting in the top of the double crochet, and then do your next blackberry as normal. Double crochet, chain 3, do your blackberry, then you'll want to double crochet. By now, if you've done all this, you're a pro at making this stitch. So basically you're just going to be going back and forth, doing the same thing, just making sure that you have at least 4 stitches, 3 or 4 stitches on the end, because you do want to leave yourself some kind of a border. If it's not exactly 4, because you're doing it another size or something, then that's fine. But like I'm showing you here, this little border are on the end. And then on this border you can add flowers if you want, or some kind of edgy excuse me. On the border here, if you want to add some kind of, you know, flowers or embroidery or something on the end, it would be really nice. But I think it looks the best with a border instead of taking all these little bumps right up to the face. This border kind of frames the face, but it's up to you. But I always try to make sure that I had at least 3 or 4 at the end. Sometimes I had 3, sometimes I had 4. So it's okay, it won't make so much of a difference. Just try to have some kind of border there. So continue to go back and forth in your little space here until it gets up to, I did 17 rows total. So you can do it for, if you're doing this size, I would recommend doing it for 17 rows. And if you're doing it for another size, I would keep in mind that the hood is going to be on the head, obviously, and the weight of the cape will be pulling it down, which means it'll kind of stretch the hood. So don't make this hood exactly to, you know, fit the size that you want. You probably want to make it just a little bit smaller. So unless you want to have like some huge hood that's hanging over the face or something. So for my daughter, I did 17 rows total on the hood. So when you've done those 17 rows, you'll have something like this, but it'll be flat open. And like I told you before, this double crochet, the single crochet row here, it'll naturally, on your own project, you can see how it just naturally wants to fold back here. That is the part you want as the hood falling back. So when you get to that point where you're done with your last row, make sure that this part that folds is on the outside. So when you go to fold your hood in half, like I did on this one, that the part that you want folded back on the hood is going to be on the outside. Because once you sew it, you'll flip the hood back in like this, and those seams won't show, and then it'll fold back as normal. So make sure this folded back part of the hood is on the outside, and then you'll have it folded in half just like this. So this is my part, my hood that folds back. So this folded back part, I had it out and I had it in half. And now, as you can see here, what you want to do to fold your, I should say, to have your hood going, the very last row up at the top, to make sewing easier, I did a row of single crochets. So let me show you this part real quick. This is the row before you sew up the top of your hood. So you've done 17 rows. It's big enough. You want to start sewing. So to make your life so much easier, this is how I did the last row. Kind of control the BBs here. So again, I did a single crochet attachment on the top of my hood. Whoops, single crochet attachment, and then I do a double crochet attachment. Sorry about that. We're working with single crochets this round. So do a single crochet attachment, which is just inserting. Do a single crochet. And then you want a single crochet in each stitch across. And when you get up to a blackberry, you want to push it forward. And you can see how there's this little stitch in between. That's the stitch you'll be working with. So you'll push it forward, you'll grab that little stitch, and then you'll single crochet. And then just continue. When you come up to the BB again, you push it back, grab that little stitch, single crochet. And you will do this all the way to the end. So do this, and I will see you back here in a moment. I just finished my single crochet row, got my BBs controlled here, and now what I want to do, making sure again that you've got that folded part that's going to be out. This is the part where I want it to fold. So this is the part I want to be out, sticking out. And then you want to slip stitch all the way down. So I'm going to go into this first stitch and then go into this next stitch over here and slip stitch. Now if you're on the wrong side where you need to be, I recommend, if you have it on the wrong side, like here, it's easy for me to single crochet, but if it's like opposite side, like you're here and you need it and it's backwards, then you can just go ahead and slip stitch into the first stitch, and then you can chain and then turn it where you need to be. Turn it to the other side, then you can single crochet. But I'm going the right direction, so I can just go right into my very first stitch, then right into the very first stitch on this side, slip stitch. Be very, very careful of the tautness of your stitches. You do not want to pull it tight where it starts to mesh up like this. You want to keep it as even as you can. And just slip stitch all along the very end of your fold here. Just do one more slip stitch, chain one, and cut your yarn. And then feed your tail down this single crochet row. Just hide it completely in there. And then when you get done, fold it over like this. And then you'll have your hood. And it should be folding the correct way. Oops. And that was how I made my Red Riding Hood Cape. And that is how I made the Red Riding Hood Cape and hood. I hope that you liked this tutorial, and if you did, please don't forget to like and share this video. And if you have any questions, please check out the pattern with pictures as always on my site. Thank you so much for watching.